another class and another week. Hope you've all been well, safe and content. So, with Rhubarb Yoga today, we're going to look at side plank, Vashisthasana. Now, side plank can be one of those poses where you think it looks easy and I can chuck myself into it, not a problem, and then you start realising that you've got to apply quite a few parts of your body to get it working. Your core has got to be strong for this. But there are adaptations which I'll show you, so that if you are not one of those people that likes it, or that you want to try it and start building up your strength, work from the ground up. So there'll be 3 or 4 different choices and options and styles. So you please pick and choose and have a go, and don't be scared. The one great thing about Vashisthasana, side plank, is the strength it will give you in surprising areas. It's not just about having a strong core to keep you upright from flopping forwards or flopping back. Your legs need to be engaged, so your thighs are going to be working, without a doubt. Your feet, weirdly enough, need to be strong. You're going to be flexing all those muscles and all the fascia in the base of the feet. And those in itself need to be strong. And your arms. Your arms will keep you upright. Your arms will give you balance, and they will keep you away from the ground. But there will be adaptations too, so that if your arm can't be fully extended, if you have trouble with your shoulders, there will be choices. So let's not worry. So we're going to look at 4 different types of side plank. But before we do anything, we're going to need to warm up the wrists and the shoulders. It would not be sensible of me to ask you to go into a side plank without a little bit of mobility warming, just to prevent any pain or soreness as much as you can. So, before anything else, simple, we're just going to rotate the wrists. Very simple. You can have your elbows tucked in at the sides by your ribs, and I want you just to rotate your wrists like you were twisting a light bulb in and out. This may not look like much, but this will warm up the wrists and the tendons. It will stop you jarring and straining, because they might not be just right and mobile just yet. Then we're going to rotate. We're just going to twist the wrists backwards and forwards. And by keeping the elbows tucked in, we're not using the tendency to fling our arms around. So by doing that, we're actually already activating our shoulders, which is something that we need to think about when we're going into any kind of plank pose anyway. The activation of the shoulder and the shoulder girdle keep us steady and strong. And if we have a weakness there, then we're going to end up causing ourselves some pain. And that's nothing that anybody wants. So let's just keep moving the wrists. Just a little bit of a flick, just to start a bit of warmth and mobility. And then we're going to do some shoulder rolls, so shoulders up to the neck, back and down. Please don't be frightened if you hear a little bit of crunching. If there is no pain, it is standard. There are a lot of components in our shoulders that need movement and activation, and there is going to be some kind of rubbing and friction between them. So up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. And then we're going to do the opposite direction, which can mess with our minds sometimes. So down, back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back, up and forward. Allow the shoulders to drop, and then just give them a little bit of a jiggle so that we can feel that they're activated, and this is when you're going to know if they're uncomfortable or painful. And this will be how you decide which plank to attempt, if you choose to do it today. So I'm going to show you a couple of very basic ones, and you can build up from there. So we're going to start on all fours, and that is going to be our platform to move forward. So coming onto all fours, as always, keeping our knees under our hips and our hands under our shoulders. Our hands under our shoulders is the most key part of any kind of plank. We don't want to be forward and sunk, we don't want to be popped up and curved. So we just want to feel like we're supported and strong, wrists underneath shoulders always, to give us a strong foundation. And if you are slightly double jointed, hypermobile like myself, please don't pop the elbows forward. You are really going to risk your joints So just allow a little bit of movement in the arms. So with side plank, let's show a start off foundation pose. We're going to take top leg and we're going to turn it so the base of the foot is on the floor. And then we're going to untuck the toes of the other leg, move it slightly out so it's underneath the hip, and this arm needs to be underneath the shoulder. So by doing this, we've got the foot, the knee and the arm all in line. Then we can create a balanced support, and this is a side plank. This is a side plank variation. So by doing this, we need to ensure our foot is flat on the ground. And by doing that, the leg can be activated, it can give us support. And when we activate the leg, we may feel the side of the waist switch on. Our abs definitely start to apply some movement, and we may feel a bit of warmth in that shoulder. The one thing we need to do here is relax our neck. It does not need to be high and tight. Just relax it until you feel balanced. Now here you will be able to judge your own balance too. So if you feel nice and balanced by grounding that back leg, raise the arm. The arm above should be in a nice vertical line with the arm below. That will encourage our balance and encourage the strength in the shoulder girdle too. We can also allow the chest to open by the shoulder being up and balanced. If we feel a slight wobble, this middle leg here is here as a kickstand. Bend the toes. You may feel that you can suddenly feel a lot sturdier. This top arm, if it's not working for you, bring it to the hip. This shape here is more important than this arm up here. So come into your side plank, allow the chest to start to open, this arm to feel strong without pain, and the back leg to feel grounded. And raise the arm if you're feeling it, and if you're not, that can go to the hip or the waist. So, coming out of it, and tuck that back leg, bring this knee in, and come down. That is a base side plank. No complications, nothing too scary, no shaking, pain, or any uncomfortable moments. So we can turn round and we'll do it the opposite side. And I will show you the next variation coming up from that. So moving to the other direction, we're going to come into our all fours to make sure we've got our good foundation of base. Extend that back leg so the foot is grounded. Turn that foot out. Adjust it so it's in line with the bottom leg. And then check that this arm is under this shoulder. By doing that, we'll see our line. This is nice and secure. Ground that back leg, and as we do, we'll feel the waist open, the internal obliques start to turn on, that's our side muscles, and then we may feel a little bit of activation in the tummy. And if we're feeling secure, we can raise that top arm. If that's not working for us, again, lower it. It's about the stability of the foundation. And again, kickstand the middle leg. Allow the chest to open. Feel the pose. And if at this point here you're thinking, yeah, I feel pretty good, I'm comfortable, we can go for an almost side plank. We can take this middle leg by activating this leg, arm and this leg, and we can bring the foot in front and knot them together. Now by doing this, arm is over the wrist still, obliques are definitely working right now, so is the waist. Arm can go up to give us a counterbalance, but again it can stay right here on the waist, and my shoulder and arm are definitely shaking right now. Activate the legs for a strong base. Come down. So if you're looking at that and you're thinking, I'm not doing that, my arms aren't that strong, don't think that's for me, then we've got a couple more variations. They are closer to the ground, our arm is bent, and we can look at those and go, okay, I'll try that one. So, it's easier to lie down on the side first. So let's come down on our side, and what we need to make sure is our hips are stacked. No twisting, no overreaching, okay? So what we need to ensure is our elbow is underneath our shoulder, and the forearm is at 90 degrees. This makes sure that we've got a strong foundation. The arm being flat to the floor will give us a strong base too, but it will also take pressure off the elbow, and that's key. So, looking down, we're in a nice line. We're perpendicular, hips are stacked, feet are stacked. The important thing here is that the feet are on top of each other. And by doing that and bringing them together, it supports the activation in the legs. And that brings that all the way up to the activation in the waist, engaging the core, and allows that side plank to be able to work. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bend the knees and bring them together. And by doing this, we can come up to a side plank, but what we can also do is ensure that we've got less strain on the arm, less strain on any other part of the body, and it's a nice test to see, could I do that one? So, making sure elbows under the shoulder, knees are together, and we're going to use the front arm to give us a little bit of leverage to pull up until the internal obliques are warm enough. So we're going to come up, and you think, all right, I can do that. So you could extend the legs. If you want to extend the legs, go for it. If that's not for you, bring the knees down. Absolutely nothing here is a bad idea. So side plank, we can again bring the arm in the direct perpendicular with the bottom arm, creating that shoulder girdle of strength as well. And that is a nice base to start side plank. If we're thinking, all right, I can try this, let's push through, we can push through, extend the legs, and we can extend the arm. If we're thinking, no, after all, that's not for me, then that is an absolutely fine way. But please be careful in every single judgment you take. One other pose is officially Vashisthasana, side plank. And you can go into this on the side, you can go into it from a plank, and you can go into it from all fours. So let's do it in a sequence and see how we feel. So, go into our all fours, hands under the shoulders, and by doing this we're going to come into our plank from all fours, so we can get our alignment nice and strong. So hands under the shoulders, heels are pushed like we're pushing against a wall, toes are strong, legs are a little activated, but don't stick the bum up. We want the bum in a nice line from the shoulders all the way down, and tuck it in just a little bit. It's going to switch on the bum, which is going to turn on the belly. It's going to turn our core on, which is going to give us internal strength. Okay, squeezing the feet together, we are going to roll, keeping the hands in the same place. I want you to roll, and I want you to see how that feels. We've got side plank activation, but we are not moving into side plank. And by doing this, we're creating the element of feeling what a side plank is, but we've got this arm here to protect us. So turning over, coming back to centre. We'll try it on the other side. Skews my back to the camera, but then you might get an idea. So feet squeezed together, legs squeezed together, and we are activating. And come down and see how that feels. By doing that, as you twist, there's two things you're going to feel. You're going to feel the core and the thoracic turn on. And you cannot hold a strong side plank without a strong core. All you're going to do is actually end up giving yourself a very painful back. Nobody ever wants that. And the other thing you're going to know when you do a side plank is that you will need to lift your internal obliques. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's turn to the other side. Let's go into our full plank, tucking the tail, hands under shoulders. We're going to roll over, keeping those feet stacked, keeping the legs stacked. So by coming into our normal plank, hand again can be on the hip if you're more comfortable with that. And then it's closer to the ground if you feel that you're going to lose your balance. If you want to raise it up, that's absolutely no problem. Now here, arm is activated, strong. Chest is open, hips are together, but I'm not activating my internal obliques. When I lift, these are switched on, these help the body lift up, keeping that line. So the difference is that. If you feel comfortable, please try it. If you think I don't know about that, then come down and extend the arm instead of having it on the elbow. And this is the other choice. So by doing this, we're starting to create that sensation, an element of warming in the belly and the core, ready to activate our side plank. By extending the arm, again, still keeping it under the shoulder, we're going to create a side plank. We're also going to be able to exercise and activate the internal obliques, creating that same sensation without worrying about our legs being strong enough just yet. So let's have a look at that. So we're going to have to push through. So pushing through, keeping the knees together, and you're going to feel that side switch on. Coming down. And if you're thinking, okay, I'm not sure about that, so bend the legs a little bit more and play with your dimensions. Everyone's dimensions are different. So some people are graced with a beautiful long top body and amazingly long legs. Some people, they have fantastically strong, slightly shorter legs and a sturdy torso. We all work with different components of our own bodies. And let's look at those and play around with them to find what works for you. So with our side plank, we're going to push up. That's our side plank. And our internal obliques, if they weren't switched on, would not stay up. Our hips wouldn't lift, and we definitely wouldn't be able to have this top hip lifting. And again, raise the top arm. So, when you're looking at your side plank with Vashisthasana, look at all the different components and choices you have. Play around them, see what you can find that works for you, and see if it is you. Be honest with that pose. It's not over if you can't do it. It is not the end of the world if it's not for you. Listen to your body, and if you find it and you enjoy it and you want to take it further, go for it. Remember, whatever part, place, or choice you make, be aware of yourself. Be aware of the body you have. And be happy with that. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Be well. Be safe.